This podcast is proudly brought to you by Lerato Agency and Lanala Beauty.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pat and Brands
Hey, everybody.
podcast with Pat and Mpumi.
What's up? What's up, Pat?
All good, Mpumi. You know, in the world of entrepreneurship, things are always moving and things are always changing. And don't be surprised if I change my tune next week and I start sounding like, hello.
Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome. We're super excited. I think I want to give Pat the opportunity to share with you who are we and what we're here to talk about on this podcast.
So this podcast really is aimed at finding answers to burning questions about
Certainly.
marketing and entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I think how the concept came about was myself and Pat are in marketing, but are also entrepreneurs. I think I don't even think, sometimes you can afford a cup of coffee, sometimes you can't. But over a cup of water, I think we share the same frustrations, the same joys, or similar joys and similar frustrations. And we thought, why not? Because probably we have entrepreneurs out there who are looking for questions, who have questions, who look for answers. And we've seen the percentage of unemployment. We've
100%.
seen the percentage of,
It's not
businesses.
100%. Did I say 100%?
No, you mean 100% agreed.
Yes.
The last time I checked, I think pre-COVID, we're sitting at about 20-something%. I read an article not so long ago that said we're actually, I think, the highest.
Yeah, 34?
Yeah.
34?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
who's the solution?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs.
And with that, it's such a double, edged sword that you have entrepreneurs who themselves are struggling,
Yeah.
Whether it's emotionally, financially, all the issues, they're really going through a tough time.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
Look, being an entrepreneur, it's like being a firefighter,
I don't even think you have to be on some pill. I really think it's firefighter is
Yeah, because remember, on Monday,
yeah.
it's an HR issue.
Yeah.
Tuesday, it's sales.
It's sales, suppliers.
Wednesday, it's suppliers.
Yeah.
Thursday,
It's marketing, your own marketing strategy.
100%. And then by Friday, you finished.
Yeah. Totally.
Like you're always putting out fires.
Yeah.
You're always putting out fires, and that's why I compare it to
Being
like
a firefighter.
being a firefighter.
Yeah.
And another thing that I've come to sort of appreciate about this journey, is that things are always changing.
Certainly. Yeah.
And also, I think I'm reminded of this poem by who's this guy? Roosevelt, the man in the arena. The man in the arena. And those are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to be on the sidelines and complain and point out mistakes and whatnot. So what this journey now is starting to show me is that, look, if my suppliers fall short,
Yeah.
I need to sort of have
Sure.
some sympathy
I have
towards them.
and apologies for being so rude. It's just the excitement because
Yeah.
I have so many questions now from what you've mentioned, and I think these are burning questions that are going to happen over time.
Yeah.
And to give you just an idea of the show, we have, of course, our experiences and opinions. There's conversations around boundary setting. I think I was listening to a show, or rather YouTube, where they were talking about boundary setting, and I had to make a decision to make a boundary in terms of what am I going to allow,
Yeah.
in terms of people's opinions around whether it's customer service, whether it's the brand,
Yeah.
because people don't have the whole story around what's happening around a certain thing. They're just pointing out an incorrect thing at the moment in time.
100%. And it's so
I'm
easy
like,
to
yo.
it's so easy to point out that there's a chip on my nail.
And that's that. Whilst we're perfecting, of course, the brand and so forth, and my passion is brand.
Yeah.
It's really because of how it can live on its own, and it's possessed by people within it who are gonna make it run forever. That's the beauty about a brand, is that it's a refined, defined, and made to be what people actually believe it would be, and people then have a brand affinity.
100%, and it's a journey.
It's a
more than
journey.
anything,
Yeah.
because you can't just get to it.
Yeah.
And now it's done.
Correct.
The brand is beautiful. Everybody likes it.
Yeah.
Because remember also, today your customers may be like crazy
Yeah, yeah.
about your brand, and
But
tomorrow again, you see,
the same people, have daggers.
Yeah, the same people are like,
Yeah.
an interesting story. I was watching a YouTube video, I think 2 weeks ago, and they were talking about like building a brand and how people have sort of emotional attachment
Certainly.
to brands.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it in soccer more,
100%.
Yeah.
It's always charged.
Yeah.
And actually, they gave an interesting case study around Apple. We all love our Apple, guys. Apple is such a beautiful brand. I
Yeah.
love it. It's a beautiful brand. But then again, they said there's a study that they did in the US about people who don't buy Apple.
Yeah.
The people who don't buy Apple, it's not, some of them, it's not because they can't afford it,
Affordability, yeah.
but it's because they hate it.
Yo, that's passion.
That's an emotion.
Yeah.
So they would rather buy
Anything
Huawei,
other than,
because they hate it. And I remember I had a friend also was a huge fan of Apple, and then he started buying. I think he bought a Samsung.
Yeah.
And the reason why he said he's like, I hate Apple. They've lost it now.
Wow.
They're
So
losing the plot.
they
They're no
bought
longer as innovative. But now they develop this feeling of
Sure.
hatred towards
Yeah.
the brand.
Yeah.
And that's the attachment that people have with
Sure.
brands. So it becomes like an emotional thing.
Yo. No, I mean, we can go on and on.
100%.
But and I suppose, the story is on Pattern Brands and our burning questions is we're going to have people who are in the respective fields of entrepreneurship and marketing and really helping us, dissect a question, help us find solutions to these problems that we realize that you yourselves as our audience who's listening share and ask.
100%.
But I think it would only be fair if we gave narratives of our journeys as marketers and as business owners. So I'm going to throw it to you, Pat. Give us a bit about who is Pat? Where did he start in the entrepreneurship space? I mean, we know you probably sucked on, entrepreneurship breast. But take us through your journey a bit.
So my journey in entrepreneurship, like many stories that I've read before, it started in primary school. I was selling sweets, Then when I got to high school, I started selling cigarettes. So I was like,
them shady people.
And imagine I've always been short. So
this is an underaged, and now you're saying a short person who's selling knockoff goods of some sort.
Illegal goods, But also,
Wow, yeah.
it all started because we didn't have much at home, And my uncle did the best he could to provide for me and to make sure that every day I've got food in my tummy.
Your basic needs.
And I've got money to buy food at school. I think I was in Kera, 5 rands.
Wow.
750, not 700.
I was like, yo!
750 at most.
Yeah.
And sometimes after school, you hang out with your friends, then they buy a cold drink or whatever, and you can't contribute. So the solve was that, look, let me make a bit of extra money so that I can, augment, what was already there. And but obviously at that time, I didn't think much of it, like being a businessman and whatnot. Obviously, when you grow up, you want to be so many things. And I think at some point I did want to be a businessman.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the main thing.
Yeah.
The main thing was going to study, get a job, and provide for my family.
Yeah.
So then when I got to varsity, I started off with selling textbooks.
Okay.
Yeah. So what used to happen is that at the beginning of the year, so say for example you're in first year and now you're in second year, so you're selling your first year textbooks. Yeah, first year textbooks.
Yeah.
I would not only sell mine, but I'll also get
Your suppliers.
my suppliers, which were my classmates in this case.
Yeah.
And I'll take those. I'll take their books, then sell them, and at a commission, of course, or at my markup. If someone says, Pat, I want 400 rands for this book, then I'll go sell it for 500 or 600 rands and still come back to them and say, I want my cut from that 400 you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and then sometimes I get like 50 rands, you know, which really sort of meant that on that day I was gonna have a J1 burger
Wow, wow,
or
wow.
Jabulani, 2 burgers and chips and Coke, you know, or I'd buy myself a sneaker, you know,
Wow.
yeah. So whilst also doing that, then my marketing journey also started because remember when I first got to varsity, I was doing IT, so I was studying IT management, but then again, I needed to make some money, you know, extra, you know. Then I started doing promotions. So I worked for a company called Innovate, run by Bilal Esop. Then they had the LG account. So when LG was still making phones, it's just sad to me that this year actually they stopped the cell phone business, you know, because that's the brand that exposed me to marketing.
Sure.
You know, so whilst doing that, so the regional manager came. You know, they were really cool people. You know, marketers.
Yeah,
Marketers are cool.
We are cool.
You know, so they looked really cool. They were talking the talk, and there's this guy called Alex.
Walking the walk.
They're walking the walk.
Yeah.
Alex was this big, buff guy, you know.
You aspire.
Yeah.
To inspire.
Exactly. Then I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday. Then Monday, when I got back to varsity, I wanted to find out how do I get to do marketing as a major. Then now, remember, I'm doing IT and I'm in my second year.
Okay.
You know, and with IT we had informatics. So informatics is like programming. So we used to write code, and I hated every minute of writing code. But to tell you the truth, now I'm like, I wish I stayed a bit longer, because now you know.
That's where we at now.
That's where we at now. Writing code.
Yeah.
You know, programmers are making a killing.
Certainly.
You know, but yeah. So then I changed. You know, because of that promotion at Eastgate Mall. Now I wanted to do marketing. And fortunately, there was a course called information management that allowed me to actually measure in marketing.
Okay.
So that was happening parallel. So within information management, then they gave us an assignment to say, guys, come up with a sort of an information and knowledge management sort of business idea.
Yeah.
Write a business plan around that and then end.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And that's when the idea of Swaggy Campus Life was born.
Oh, wow.
And most students actually at UJ knew me via Swaggy Campus Life.
Yeah.
An interesting thing is that actually 2 nights ago, we were at a dinner party for one of my friends and my ex-classmate.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna call her out. Madlamini.
Yeah.
So Madlamini was there.
Yeah.
With her sister. So
okay.
we share a mutual friend.
Yeah.
Lebu. So Madlamini is like, this is Pat. You know Pat? To her sister. And the sister's like, nah. No, man, Pat, we were at UJ together. Remember that red sweater that you like?
Oh, this is the innovator.
100%.
Okay.
You know that red sweater with gold printing on that you like so much? Actually, this is the man that created it, you know.
Sure.
And I was like, quite touched. Like, I was like, do you still have it? She was like, yeah, it's still there, you know.
Sure.
So that was Swaggy Campus Life. And the reason why I did so now you may ask the question,
why?
How does an information
and now you're a sweater creator.
Yeah, and now I'm a sweater creator using the same brand. So now, whilst I was, obviously I did the assignment, I got good marks for it, you know, but I was like, actually I need to pursue this idea. So now the idea was that I'll create a website for students to find any information about events, about accommodation, funding opportunities, etc. You know, so it was going to be a media platform. It was going to be what Pattern Brands is today.
This is why we're here today.
You know, can you see how these things connect?
Come together.
You know, they come together. So now, I commissioned one of my friends, Ntsako. So NTK was doing computer science. He was studying computer science, and so he was good at developing websites and writing code and whatnot. But this nigga was taking forever to complete. Actually, he never completed it.
Okay.
So now, I created a Facebook page which was gaining momentum. It was, getting followers. So now I was like, okay, cool, man. People are loving this brand. Swaggy Campus Life.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, why not? And the logo was so cool. It was 3 silhouettes.
Wow.
It was then with written SCL in the cursive.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful brand, I think. Then I was like, why not print T-shirts? Then we did that.
Okay.
We printed T-shirts. Then we sold a couple. Then it was winter. Then we sold sweaters. Then
So you went with the seasons.
Then I went with the seasons.
Yeah.
Then there was this guy at UJ.
Yeah.
Those that went to UJ between 20,
They know him.
2010, let's say between 2011 and
Yeah.
2014.
Yeah.
There's this guy, Dan Colombo. Congolese brother. Tall,
Yeah.
buff,
Ticking all the boxes.
ticking all the boxes.
Yeah.
Actually, now he's based in Australia.
Wow.
He was studying accounting towards being a CA.
Okay.
A smart dresser of note.
Note. Yeah.
That was Dan Colombo.
Yeah.
So I approached him. He didn't know who I was. I was this short guy from the village. Look, who's this guy approaching me?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, Dan, I'm Pat Mahlangu, man. I'm founder and CEO.
You gotta put it.
You know what I mean? Of Swaggy Campus Live. Man, I like your style. I like how you dress. Here's a sweater. If you can just pose for me and take a picture. And then
Yeah.
you see, that was influencer marketing.
I know we're gonna talk about it because now there's so many pockets to this conversation that I want to interject. But continue. Yeah.
So I give Dan Swaggy Campus Live sweater. He wears it, take a picture. He walks around campus. Like that guy, you wouldn't miss him.
Yeah.
He walked the walk.
It was
he
Dan.
was confident.
Denana.
Like when he walked, it's like he was walking with his toes.
La Denzo.
Yo, Dan. So yeah, Dan did that, man, and yeah,
He's personal brand.
he
Yeah.
So did that, obviously promoted it and whatnot. So now I started looking for opportunities on how I can grow this brand and build more brand awareness. And there was a chap called Refuel Lidija running Varsity TV. So now
Okay.
Varsity TV was only at APK and I think at DFC at that time.
Okay.
And obviously he was still hustling,
Yeah.
And this time I'm doing my honors in marketing.
I
I approached Ref. I'm like, Ref, man, I want to advertise. I want my brand on those screens. But I don't have money.
Like a true entrepreneur.
Hey, Then Ref is like, yo, man, let's do a trade exchange
Yeah, but
and whatnot. But then again, yeah. So in the process, then he was starting a production of some sort, like getting more students involved with Varsity
Sure.
TV and
Yeah.
showcasing their talents and whatnot. And there was a show. Then so Varsity TV, long story short, had big screens in the cafeterias, and sold advertising.
Okay.
So now, in the process, Ref was struggling with sales. So Ref wasn't getting any sales.
Yeah.
He had, I think, 1 or 2 clients, but they're not paying much.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm doing my honors.
Yeah.
And in my honors class, I've got brand managers.
Okay.
I've got I've got a media buyer.
Yeah. You have that accessibility.
I've got, I've got
Yeah.
marketing managers
Yeah.
who are doing their honors as well. So I'm like, okay, cool, sharp. But I just fell in love with this Varsity TV now.
Yeah.
I'm like, Pat, but I'm like, Ref. No, man.
Yeah.
He was in the process of selling this business.
Oh, wow.
He was speaking to a big media business that wanted to buy, but they wanted to buy it for like next to nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, Ref,
There's so much here.
there's so much here.
Yeah.
There's potential, and I want in. I'm going to bring you clients.
Okay.
I'm going to bring you 2 clients,
Yeah.
and if that works, you don't have to pay me. I want equity in the
Yes.
business.
Yes. Sustainability. Yeah.
I'm looking long term.
Yeah.
And indeed, I did. I found clients.
Okay.
And I landed a Microsoft to advertise.
Sure.
You know?
That is big.
Through my networking class.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Shout out to Landlove.
Wow.
You know? She's still my plug to this day.
Yeah.
She's one person that believed me like since in that honors class.
Wow.
So now I'm now co-owner of Varsity TV. You know, now we're pushing Varsity TV. I mean, we did some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the year, all the many residences had like what you call year-end functions and whatnot.
Yeah.
I remember there's this one particular one. It was Screenser. So Screenser. I knew Tati, who was one of the hawkers. Or she sat in the committee, you know. So Tati studied IT, so she was in my IT class. You see this networking thing, man.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's the reason why and how you're progressing.
And that's how you progress.
Yeah.
So she knew me from then.
Yeah.
Then I approached her. I was like, "Dude, you guys like doing this? So how about we roll out like because at the end of the year, like I say, they have their end of the year functions and it's mostly for their first years, you know. So, like for example, it was a ladies' rest.
Okay.
So then, these girls would find, I don't know what, their boyfriends or whoever. Somebody will come and wait outside and pick them up. You know, it was just the whole
soft life.
So, you know. So then I was like, okay, there was an opportunity there. So we bought a red carpet. And we had our Varsity TV bed, a wall banner. So then we rendered that service actually for for 2 consecutive years or so.
Wow.
Every year. So at Grensech they knew. So the students would stand outside.
So it's something they were anticipating.
Yeah, it was that thing. So we set up.
You created an experience.
We created an experience, you know. It was really an experience. So they would walk out in their nice dresses, you know, and this red carpet, and there will be a photo moment. Like you see paparazzi, what do you...
We all like it, Ramanyane red carpet.
Yeah, is it Met Gala? You see?
Yes.
It was that kind of setup, you know? So that's the experience we gave these students. So that come, we take pictures and we charge for that, of course. And that is one of the ways, you know, Varsity TV sort of enhanced the student experience. You know, we had a presenter sesh, you know, through which also I met Nomakaya, who then later came to work for Pattern Brands and the Rato agency. Yeah. You know, through which I met, Komoso was in my class, but our relationship sort of strengthened. Komoso Mokobi, who's now a label manager at Universal Music. Okay. You know, so that was the journey. But now in that process, Sugi Campus have died.
Yeah.
So it died, and man. So we sold. Now I was selling advertising space. You know, Vele. Then listen to this. So now, when I was working as a promoter, you know, I did my best. You know, I gave it my all. I was on time. I sold the phones. Yeah. I think in 2012, when Huawei started, you know,
correct,
entering the South African market.
Yeah.
So Innovate had the account, and I was doing promotions for Huawei.
Yeah.
And I remember people laughing at me saying, "I'll never buy a Chinese phone." Like, what do Chinese know about making phones? All they know is making Hong Kongs and counterfeit products and all of that. So so now I promoted that, and I remember I was the best promoter in the country.
Sure.
Selling.
So you were selling lies because you didn't even believe in this.
No. I believed in it. The brand I believed, because I mean they had good phones and they were selling at an affordable price. Certainly. Like their top of the range was like $2,000.
Yeah, I
remember.
It
was the Huawei P1 and it was ultra thin.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful phone, 8 megapixels camera. Yeah. It was just I sold it, you know. And in that process I developed a relationship with Bilal, the owner of Innovate, and became my mentor. And we, you know, obviously once a month we meet, and you know, and also, he played a very integral role in terms of just remember now. I'm from the village, first one at home to be at university. You know, sometimes some of the struggles I can't share with my family back home because also I don't want to stress them too much.
Do they relate?
Yeah,
and
so Bilal was that person. Like when I got like marks and I got a distinction and I'll just call him like, yo, Mr. B, I passed, got 3 distinctions.
Yeah.
He was like, well done, Pat.
Congratulations.
You know, congratulations. And it just kept me going. So now Varsity TV is doing the things, you know, I now pitch it, tell him now this is what I'm doing. He's like, okay, cool, Pat. Actually, if you need office space, come through.
Wow.
So now Varsity TV had an office on the same street as Gold Reef City.
So you were living your best life.
You know, so we got office space in Omonde. You know, the business, you know, did the things. We got to work with Huawei now. Huawei became our client.
Yeah.
You know, remember we sent our camera guy or videographer down to Cape Town.
Wow. So those opportunities that came from there.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Everything just sort of comes back 360, you know? And yeah, fast forward, I started Patron Brands, but now it's just a passion project. So the main steez was
your job.
Varsity TV, Varsity TV.
Yeah.
And when we finished our honors, both Ref and I were like, oh no, man, the business is not where we thought it would be.
Yeah.
So now how do we, because now he's from Polokwane, I'm from...
now studies are finished.
The studies are finished.
What now?
And we both want to be entrepreneurs. We don't want to work for anyone.
Yo.
You know? I'm like, dude, let's do our masters. Then...
we'll stay here.
We will have moved... we're staying in student town, so we'll have accommodation. And you know, at least with the university, they're not going to put us under pressure to pay rent. You know, we can stay the whole year without paying.
We'll figure it out.
Then they're going to kick us out at the end. You know?
Yeah.
But then again, funding is an issue. Who's going to pay for school fees? But, you know, if I can just have my registration fee, then
you're in. Package inside.
You know, then I'm in, you know? So, in my honesty, fortunately, you know, I always talk, you know, talk to people, different people and whatnot. And also through Varsity TV, you know, within our faculty, we're now starting to be like a sort of shining example, you know, of student entrepreneurship. And that's when now...
Who's actually using this thing that they study.
Yeah, and also, entrepreneurship was starting to be a thing.
Yeah.
Remember... the Dan VC started an initiative for student entrepreneurship.
Okay.
You know, they set up a fund and whatnot. So my dean, we were very strategic, man. You know, when I look back, I'm like, I've always been, you know,
that guy, man.
Because then what you did, remember now, because we were struggling to get business.
Yeah.
So we started interviewing heads of departments in the university.
Okay.
Directors, deans.
So you had access to people who are really far from any student.
Any student.
You know, unless you're a star child.
100%.
You're invited to an office.
Yeah, unless you're like a top achiever.
Yeah, that's the only
you're
time.
on the dean's list.
That's what I'm saying. So that's the only time you can converse with your dean.
100%.
Sure.
So then we created this thing of interviewing the key players, you know, come with and we had like a little camcorder and a tripod. And I mean, Prof. Daniel van Lille, you know, who was our dean, or my faculty dean, because Refilo was doing actually, he's an engineer, he's a civil engineer.
Wow.
You know, that's what he was studying towards, but he had a strong passion for marketing and advertising and media.
Sure.
So that was his thing. So now he obviously interviewed the dean. So now the dean knows me, knows my ambitions. So he asked me towards the end of my honors, what do you want to do? I'm like, I actually want to do my master's. And he's like, actually, you know. Then he's like, actually you can link it to your business and your research will be.
Yeah.
Little did I know that I actually planted a seed in him. So then I applied for my master's. So now that's also another thing, guys.
Yeah.
Like a story altogether. But I'm going to keep it short.
Yeah.
So now I want to do my master's. So there's two options. Doing it like full research masters or coursework and
Your research project.
and a research project.
Yeah.
But that one is the MCOM.
Okay.
So there's the MPhil, which is purely research,
Okay.
and MPhil.
Okay.
I mean, and MCOM.
Yeah.
MPhil school fees is like 15K.
Okay.
MCOM school fees is 80K.
Sure. Yeah.
You know? So obviously I want to go for the cheaper one
Yeah.
in case I can't afford. And also, this one has lots of bursaries, the full research one. And this one, no bursaries because it's structured like an MBA.
Okay.
So the people that study it are directors,
Managers,
engineers,
senior managers,
senior
et cetera.
managers,
Yeah,
and you know, they're getting paid. Their companies are paying for
Sure.
them. So you know, so I applied for this one.
MPhil.
Actually, I applied for both. Then they didn't take me for the MPhil. You know, I was so like, you know, and I remember the head of research in that department, in the marketing department, telling me that, you know, Patrick, we only take top performers.
Okay.
For this masters. I'm like, Prof. I mean, look, I meet the requirements.
You know? Yeah.
We have a lot of students. He literally was speaking like this.
Yeah.
We had a lot of students from Monash coming up with distinctions with an average of 75 and above. And I was sitting on like 70. You know, I wasn't a bad student.
Sure.
You know, I was sitting on 70, and I was content with that because I knew I was running a business. I was
And,
living my passion.
come on
and I was still
now.
studying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so they didn't accept me.
Sure.
Then I went to, I think, the head of department. Prof. Messi. I said, Prof. Messi, I really want to do this masters. I really want to do this masters. You know? And Prof. Messi then became my supervisor.
Okay.
And we still talk today.
Yeah.
Also someone who's really on my corner.
Yeah,
Always cheering
yeah.
up for me. It was, long story short, he was like, apply for the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be accepted there.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, cool. Then I applied, then I was accepted. But then the stress of
Where's
80K.
the money?
Where's the money? Where's the money gonna come from? I remember now I think it was Jan. Mid-Jan. Now we're back at varsity. But those of us that are going to do our masters.
Of course.
Even though we don't know that we have money or not.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I gonna pay for this? I remember now we were only like a ticking time bomb.
Sure.
Ref and I, both Ref and I.
Yeah.
But Ref was lucky because he was doing engineering. So
Which has a lot of bursaries.
yeah, there's
I
a lot of
suppose.
bursaries
Yeah.
in that field.
Yeah.
And there I was. Wanted to do an MCOM. Oh, a step back. So with this MCOM, one of the requirements was that you need to have 2 years working experience.
Which you had nothing.
Which I didn't have. And so obviously you write your proposal, then you also go for an interview.
Okay.
So in that interview, the very same professor that
Kapad you.
covered me in the
Is now the render here.
yeah, is also now
Titles.
sitting in the panel
Yeah.
of interviewers, and there I was, you know, and he asked like difficult, I was like, Patrick, come on, Patrick, I was Patrick there before I became Pat.
Yeah.
So what is going to be your contribution in class? Because in this program, we take directors and people that have worked in big corporates. What is going to be your contribution? Because, I mean, you don't have work experience, your CV, you know? And that's where the experience of entrepreneurship came also to play.
Sure.
My short answer was like, I run Varsity TV. I actually engage with these people. I sell to them.
To them.
You know,
Yeah.
I help them tap into the student market.
Wow.
You know, so yeah.
I mean, that was the nail
Exactly.
on a what is it? The something on the camel's back, but that's the one.
Yeah. Nail, quang. And I was in.
Yeah.
And I was in.
Sure.
But then, yeah, so I need to get funding.
Yeah.
I don't have funding for this thing.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, okay, cool. So this one day, they told us that if we are not registered in 2 days,
It's over.
it's over.
Yeah.
Pack your bags.
Go home.
Leave the university residence.
Sure.
I was stressed.
Yeah.
I still remember that day. It was a Thursday.
Bambuyega.
And they said by Monday, if you're not registered,
It's over.
that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
So there I was taking a walk on campus. I don't know. I just walked past the finance office. I see this other professor. He was the head of research, at the time. Then I go to Prof. Like, hey, Prof, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, Prof. Hey, I'm stressed, man.
Yeah.
I'm stressed, man. Like, I want to do my master's so bad, but I don't have funding. Yeah, Prof wrote. It was the name. Shout out to him, man. Prof wrote, yeah, I really want to do my master's, but I don't have money.
Yeah.
He's like, what's your name? Then I was like, no, before that, I was like, I've been accepted, I really want, but I don't have money. Like, what's your name? What is your name, man? I'm like, I'm Patrick. Before I finished, Patrick was like, Patrick Mahlangu.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you know me?
Yeah.
Like, you, yeah, like, yeah, Patrick Mahlangu. Like, yeah, Patrick Mahlangu.
That is
yes,
me.
That's me. And he's like, we're actually talking about you yesterday during our meeting.
Sure. Your name is spoken in places.
At the faculty.
Yo. Yeah.
I've got funding for you.
Wow.
But in my head, I'm confused. I'm like,
wow.
couldn't anyone call me or send an email or whatever?
Sure.
Maybe they were going to call me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go see my assistant, Lovell, and she will sort you out.
Sure.
With funding.
Yo.
And long story short, I went to see Levan. Yeah, I'm so sorry. It was Levan. And Levan really sorted me out with my school fees.
Yo.
And I was able to register, and I was able to stay at res, and I was able to push
your MCOM.
my MCOM.
Yeah.
Then mid-year, this is the last story. This is the last part because these stories are interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of there.
Yeah. Mid-year now. Remember, I thought if I'm covered with tuition, I can
All
hustle.
is well.
I can hustle for
man.
res.
Res, yeah.
But now mid-year, business is not popping. I can't even afford to pay my rent.
Sure.
I go back to Prof. Road.
My profana.
I say my profana. Lester Hiso. I got not picky problem. I got problem.
Just a smaller, biggie one.
Just a smaller problem.
Yeah.
Residence is not covered.
Yeah.
Prof. Road, being the kind man that he is,
Makes a
like,
plan.
do not worry.
Oh, wow.
My child.
Look at this angel. Oh, man.
Go back to Levan.
Yeah.
She'll sort you out.
Oh, wow.
Go back to Levan
Sorts you out.
and says next year,
Yeah.
make sure
You have your ducks in a row.
everything you require, let me
Yeah.
know in advance,
Yeah.
and we'll sort you out.
Sure.
And that's how I got through my masters, man.
Wow.
Prof. Road paid for my fees. I never filled in a form for that for that
Wow.
funding. It was
Yeah.
just merely a conversation I had with Prof. Van Lille and the drive that I had and
Yeah.
and now Pattern Brands also was born in that process.
Yeah.
Then Lerato Agency,
Sure.
which was born last year during COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's my journey. How about you?
Yo. I mean, yours is rather scenic. I mean, you've picked the roses, you've left the rose header. I mean, it's been a journey. I mean, I suppose there is a few similarities in the sense that I think if I to think back, I started in high school.
Yeah.
And of course, like any high school student, you're selling your chips, your chippies. I remember sitting in, I think it was Mrs. Marsh in mathematics, and then we had your Piles, Nadiras, and everybody. They were sitting in the front. Of course, that's where they're sitting in the front. And I went to a multiracial school, so
You went to
no, to a multiracial
a school for the girls.
So they
I know
turned
those
around.
schools are dangerous.
Wow.
Schools for the girls, school for the boys. Saint what?
Wow.
College.
Anyway.
As we are busy at senior secondary school.
So he turns and they turn around and then, we have a way, of communicating to say I must pass, the products to the front. And and that's really how the business started, or my business, my personal business. Because I think I grew up in a space where my mom, my dad, they had done business. And I remember there's an interview about a week or two ago when I was asked to say, did I grow up in that environment that made me, want to be an entrepreneur, or that actually played a part. I do believe there is that the reason why, or seeing entrepreneurship from your parents, or somebody really close to you, you kind of then have that affinity, so that's how it really started. I remember there was a time now they had to shut down my business, being my family, because they were like, no, you need to work or focus on school. I was like, but I mean, I'm doing them both, know. And that was really the start of really understanding, your revenue, understanding the cost, your overheads, understanding inventory, so it was really taking what I was studying in accounting and now bringing it to life. And I wish that anybody, I think, even and as I'll explain, my studies and so forth, is that anybody who's in any industry, whether you're not asked to do a learnership or you're not asked to intern, I think be intentional about it, is to say, let me go and, find companies that are okay to kind of incubate me, and create your own, internship of some sort, really understand, create your objectives of what do I want to achieve when I come out of here, because I saw through that. It helped quite a lot now with my accounting, where I was sitting at like 50s, 60s, I was now getting your 70s, getting an A, and that's how I got a distinction. Yeah, and it was just because of making it practical.
You got distinctions in high school?
I did.
How many?
Yeah. No, it was 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tunyana yok biga.
Yeah, biology nyana, accounting nyana, But it made it practical. So I remember we were failing dismally. And now it was like, okay, I'm seeing what assets equals to owner's equity plus liability. Basically, it made sense now.
Yeah, it was now
practical, and moved on, got to varsity. Varsity, I sold clothes. Started a brand called.
Is that where you got your style?
I think so, but it was called Contoured Lines.
Contoured Lines.
Yeah, it was called Contoured Lines. So we would.
You like funny names.
I like names that have this meanings where you want to understand what's the story behind Contoured Lines.
Content.
But started Contoured Lines with a friend. Actually, it was more than one of us. And in that, I mean, it's also volatile. Yeah. We got to learn, a bit about. It wasn't making sense. It was just not making business sense. The cost that we were putting in and what we're getting out was just not making sense. Sure. You're producing, products in terms of, clothing, and people maybe don't appreciate it.
Did you design the clothes from scratch?
Yeah, we designed from scratch. We got
So what kind of style were you?
We were modern, but also it had to be different.
What, hippie?
No. I mean, we had this other velvet. So we looked for because we also wanted to go into textile design. So we got...
An accountant wanting to be a textile designer.
So we
The audacity that young people have.
Actually, we're going to talk about how pretty cool young people are. I mean, we're known to be slashers. And I think the beauty about this month and us initiating this in Heritage Month 100%. Is the fact that Heritage talks about celebrating that diversity of cultures and so forth. But we can bring that to how people are so multifaceted.
Yeah.
You're not just limited or pocketed into one thing. But you've spoken about Ref, who was, really enjoyed marketing, but he was a civil engineer. Yeah. And they actually connect, somehow or another, because there's a sense of creativity when it comes to engineering, and how do you actually populate that from a marketing perspective. 100%. And business is the same, Sure. The principles of a business is the same. I think you've touched on you've touched on how you were realizing that there's no business right now. Yeah. So having to find ways or solutions to actually continue the business and expansion is things that are happening, whether the business is at infancy, whether the business is has made it. Yeah. Given iPhone, why are they still releasing? Because it is that thing of sustainability, innovation, and so forth. So sold Contoured Lines. I remember we had
sold.
Well, not sold. We had a discussion with my friend, and I said, listen, let's have a cup of coffee. And this thing is eating our pockets. Like, already our pockets, I'm a student. And
I can already imagine, having done business with you, I can already imagine how that conversation went down.
We'll chat about that
Yeah.
later in due time. But it was I had a cup of coffee with her and I said, friend, but is this making sense? And it wasn't. And I think for my side, it was an emotive side or emotional response to say that I felt she was overexerting herself because I couldn't support financially. I could have been there, yes, because I was a student. She was working.
Oh, she was working.
Yeah, so she was working. So I was like, I feel like you're bleeding, financially, and I'm unable to support. And I couldn't then. My conscience was not allowing me to be part of that if I'm not adding value that was almost equatable to that, you know? So, yeah, and I mean, we're still friends. We're still probably going to be business partners.
Actually, yeah, we need to, at some point, obviously talk about partnerships, you know? And obviously...
those will make or break you.
100%.
Yeah.
And but also, and if it doesn't work out, no love lost. You know what I mean? Because it happens. Nothing is ever guaranteed in this world.
Certainly, yeah. And yeah, man, moved from there. So I was I don't even know if I think I was a deputy to the Wits business, WSBS, Wits. But it was a business society, basically. Oh. And
I was part of the BMF, the Black Management Forum.
remember them on campus. From the Wits. So you're the UJEs, we're the Witsies.
Yeah. And I used to hate what you guys used to say about UJ.
It's still said.
If you're still saying that, you must stop it.
No, they must stop it. No, I agree.
The high school
down the road.
I'm like...
How dare they? But yeah, and from there then we had events that we had created. That's where the network started. I think somebody I look up to, Gilebogile Siputi. She is and we worked then together later on, but she was studying. I actually studied actuarial science, then was completing her marketing and so forth.
Whoa.
But to cut the long story short, in that I met then other people that we connected with. I think he was mechanical engineering, but now I was studying mechanical engineering because we had a business that we were supposed to go into in terms of mechanical engineering.
Sure. She was versatile, eh?
Yeah, I mean, that didn't, take off. But needless to say then, the bug was always there. Yes, I then went to study. I mean, I was studying chartered accountancy, flunked. Sure. I was like, okay. I mean, I'm a marketer, to be honest. This is always...
Then when did television... come in this process?
So my idea of going into television, so I had one course left, which was taxation at the time, and I was like, I'm not going to take a whole year just to do taxation.
And you had money to throw around to study.
No, and now looking back, I'm like, I wish I could have saved that money because now I can do my postgrads and masters and I mean, whether international or South African, the calls I've had over the past couple of weeks just to assess what I'm going to do, I'm like, how am I going to get this money? But had a conversation to say, listen, guys, I really am. I've always wanted to do marketing. How I made the decision to do CA was one, because, I mean, clearly we are passing accounting.
Yes.
And I thought it's the same thing.
Of course.
And I remember we had the privilege of having these companies come to us and say...
What, Deloitte?
Yeah, all of them, all four.
Four?
Yeah.
It was the big four then?
Yeah, it was big four then. Fifth, BDO coming, and then of course...
and where was Seasons?
They were 5, 6. They were fighting for the position, and I don't know now where they're sitting, but we also
I think they were bought by...
Grant Thornton.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I can't speak on, but I do know that there is that merger.
There was.
Yeah. So those are so we had, I mean, like you say, I can throw the names because we were in that space where, I ate the food at Deloitte, ate the food at PwC, walked up the stairs, saw the beautiful life that was lived there as CAs, I suppose, or the dream that they sell you.
Yeah, of course, and they're wearing suits.
And you of
Navy
course,
suits
and you
brown
aspire.
shoes.
No, they looked classy, honestly, and I think you were sold to that to be like, oh my gosh, is this me?
Also, I remember because I was doing IT management.
Yeah.
I remember having ambitions of becoming an IT auditor.
Shucks.
At Ernst & Young.
Yes,
before I learned that it was Ernst & Young. Yeah.
So all of those, and then we applied, of course. My best friend and I. and we got into the same. We got a bursary at the same company.
Yeah.
At the time, we're like, KPMG doesn't want us. How dare they? PwC.
Yeah.
And but we had Deloitte at the time. So
Nice.
then I was like, okay, now I'm sitting with a bursary I have to pay back because clearly I haven't finished my CA degree.
Yeah.
Marketing, like I say, is what I actually wanted to do. But we thought, but once you're a CA, you can be a surgeon. You just said CASA.
Yeah, CSA.
Oh, then
That's your body.
then after that you just say, I want to be a surgeon. They'll say, and you become a surgeon today.
Game over.
So, so that overrated thought, I suppose,
Yeah.
was what kept me going in there. But at the time now, I wasn't doing well. I mean, I sat in an auditing class and I was like, what are they saying?
Sure.
So I made the decision to kind of then go into television and screen arts.
Yeah.
So I did a year there where, for me though, and that's why I was talking about being intentional. I mean, I was like
You're big on intention.
Yeah, I was 4 or 5 years older than these people, and I was like, is this all? And I started, and I remember I spoke with the lecturer, and I said, listen, can't I find like a job, man, holiday job, nyana, something, so that, because I saw how it helps in terms of this practicality thing, even in CA, of course, there's these workshops that they allow you to come to. And when I saw that in the workshops it's failing, I knew that clearly theoretically it's gonna fail. And I was like, I'm an avid I want to go into adverts. I want to see what advertising is about. And he gave me, and I went to, I found a post-production company in Bryanston. Wrote them an email. They came back, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? What's next?
Yeah.
And he was like, tell them what you want to gain out of this and how long you want this internship for. And I did. And I would go every Friday.
Yeah.
I'd go sit there, watch how blacks steer, and I'm like, this is the Packers.
Sure.
Taking it from just an image to what we see on TV, to movies, to so it was they had an audio a thingy studio there for recording, voiceovers. There was an After Effects studio where we'd create people and make them Smurfs. We'd make them blue. It was really fun. It was really fun. So I had that opportunity, and we moved on from there. Now I was old, my siblings need to go to school. I went to go, find a job, and I started out as marketing, as a copywriter and social media manager, within an agency. After I left that, I was like, no, I will not go to an agency, But went then to travel, and that's my passion is traveling.
Nice.
So I was a marketing assistant there, for international brands. And then there was a point where I was going through a back and forth. I was just like, the money's not hlanganing, but I'm working hard. But and I had intent to actually go overseas. I was like, what? Let me
see,
go overseas.
one thing I appreciate about people that went to high school for the girls and boys and college, is that they dare to dream. They're like, we want to go overseas. I'm like,
but it's attainable. You've seen it in your grade 10, maybe.
I've been overseas.
No, we know that. But for the fact that, in grade 10, that there's an international trip. It's that thing where
I never imagined that.
Yeah, man. It's, and I wish we could all have that same opportunity. I don't see why we're not, to be honest with you.
Yeah, maybe one of the burning questions is, why is it not possible? And we bring in a politician here to answer this question. Why is it that the kid in Poko Village does not
have the same
opportunity as the one in Bryanston?
Right.
Where
we're based right now.
What is it? The richest square mile in the continent.
But man. And then I left there and then went on to so I've been in corporate. So anything I was doing, I was either studying and doing business, or I was in corporate and doing business. And
so business has always been in the mix.
Certainly, all the time.
So you've never jumped ship.
I have, and we're going to get into that 2 seconds.
Sure.
Anyway, worked then for beauty, an international beauty brand that had me traveling Africa. So that was pretty awesome.
I can imagine. Which countries did you go to?
I went to Nigeria a couple of times.
Niger. Did you pick up a Niger brother?
You know that Niger brothers. No, it was work, no play. It was work, no play. But it was really beautiful. You get to appreciate so much. Hey, yeah, I could go on about my African
And
trips.
you went to Ghana. Did you go to Ghana?
I didn't, because I was supposed to go in 2020.
You should have went to Accra.
It was supposed to be Ethiopia, Ghana, Tanzania, I think.
Hey.
Yeah, those were my 3, I think, for the year for 2020, but unfortunately.
Man.
But yeah, then went to Kenya.
Damn COVID,
Went to Kenya, went to Uganda, went to Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
I have stories about each and every country.
I can
lit.
imagine.
Yeah, Ivory Coast, yeah, the Francophone countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, bonjour.
Well, I
Did
wish.
you practice any French?
No, there was no time to practice French because I was doing it was a trip hop, different in a sense that
Sure.
I was in Kenya, then I went to Ivory Coast. So there was no time to be cute and try and
Oh,
practice
I
long
see,
before
I
because you're
see.
preparing for events.
Oh.
Post that, yeah, and when we got there, we got into a fight with the taxi driver.
Oh, you got into a fight?
Oh, it got lit. We were almost getting beaten up by these, French, individuals. Yeah, but man. Yeah, but yeah.
But you're here now.
Yeah, I'm here now, Yeah, and a couple of years later, born Lenala, which is the new baby.
But also, how about you talk about how you and I met?
Before we actually get to Lenala, so how we got to where me and Pat having a conversation is I attended an event in 2020 just before lockdown.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what was the conversation that lured me to come through.
Wasn't it because we had Level Lion
I actually didn't even know her.
and we had
Sylvester
Chauke.
yeah.
He's just published a book.
Yeah. But actually,
Oh, then we also had the lady from Ponds.
yeah. So how I got to know
Yeah.
the ad. Oh, yes. I remember actually her sister, we were working in the same company. Now I remember.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I saw the ad through an intern where I was working, who's I think an intern to Sylvester or something. And I was like, okay, maybe let me go and listen.
Yeah.
Paid. We came to the event. It was
You
really
paid?
good. Of course. And yeah, I came
Yeah.
through. It was so informative. It was a good dialogue.
Thank you.
Pleasure. So yeah, so that's how I met. And Pat was meant to be running had a cause, and I appreciate that. It was like he was running bare feet. I was like, whoa.
I was gonna run the conference
Whoa.
barefoot.
I was like, yo, what? This guy's got dreams,
Yeah,
and then I think I followed you from there. And then I know my colleague at the time also knew you because she was studying with you or something like that. Funziani.
Funzi.
Yeah, I don't know.
Funzi.
Yeah.
Funzi.
Wow. Funzi, if you're there.
I'm trying to remember. But I think the Funzi that I studied with was at some point at Avon.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, correct.
Oh, is that the one?
Yes,
Oh, she was
yes.
in my honors class.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Funziani. And yeah, and then she was like, yeah, no, Pat, we were in school together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Then fast forward, I think you called me in May.
In May, yes.
Yeah.
After 4 months, you gave me your number. No. You took my number, if I remember correctly. Then
Why would
you
I
followed
take
me on
your
Instagram.
number?
I mean,
Wow.
come on, look at me now.
Anyway, we did follow each other on Instagram.
Yeah, we followed
yes.
each other on Instagram, and I was like, this girl is always liking my posts. Then there was a time, I think we were running a competition.
Yes, for Women's
it for?
Day.
Was it
Yes.
for Women's Day?
Yeah.
No.
So it was. I remember because it was after I had received or bought a bag from work because it was perfume, fragrance.
Yeah.
And then you were running a Women's Day giveaway because I was leaving the company. That's how I know.
Yes,
so
yes.
July-ish, August.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was July actually.
Then Ping the Hustler, and I'm like, okay.
The sales pitch, guys, can I just say? So I was like, okay. And I advised that I've actually left my employer. I'm leaving, and this was going back to intent was I needed to finish my degree. And it was 10 years later. And it was like, ke wa bona inkomo lezi uzlethayo in like for amalobola, it can't be half-legged, you know, it must be a pair. And I
Yeah.
was like, this degree is actually, it's an itch. It's that chicken licking, you know, mind your pair to be like, no, you know.
Yeah.
And I made a decision, tough decision, but it had to be done because I also wanted now to progress. I wanted to go into management or senior management roles. At the time, I was just entry-level management. So, you know, but now they want to know, okay, what have you studied? What have you done?
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, okay, now I have to finish this because it's a bit of a, now, yes, experience is there, but what are your, where's the paper? You know?
Yeah.
So I made the decision. I mean, tough one. I can't even lie. It was really, really tough. And, yeah, because it was a lot. We were working.
But I'm glad you made that decision.
Yeah.
Because that decision brought us to.
Then we met Pat and we conversed, and he said to me, so what are you going to do? And I said, listen, I mean, I've seen as an influencer marketing manager, you know, for Sub-Saharan Africa, I did see there's a lot of potential thereof. Yeah, I mean, from, you know, systems we used, or AI rather that we used was very European influenced and very USA influenced. So there wasn't enough data that we were collecting from the African market.
Yeah.
So I would manually have to collect data, find influencers manually, which wasn't necessarily how we were doing then for the European markets and the others. So it was a shortfall. So
Yeah.
I wanted to be a contributor, as a thought leader. I remember my mentor at the time said to me that, yeah, and I mean, you've had the opportunity to experience influences in different countries in Africa, which many people haven't. So why don't you write about that?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll do that. You know, but looking back, I wish I still actually have articles that have headings and topics and research, but I haven't really compiled any, which I still need to do, you know.
Yeah, you must.
Yeah. So
And the
that's
platform
what
is there.
happened.
Platform-based.com
Yeah.
is there,
And
you know?
Pat then was like, no man, use our platform to contribute. So I was like, okay, cool, chill, that's fine.
And you only wrote one article there.
No, I didn't even write
You
one.
didn't even.
No.
Then you're already.
But that's because now coming to the part where I've always said I will say is that Pat then was like, actually, you know, I've got a lot of the agency, you know, this is what's happening.
just started.
come through. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate brands that are fresh, that are young.
Yeah.
And once I hear the story, I fall in love with those, and I'm more than happy to jump on board and see how I can add value. I think
And boy, did you jump on board.
I did. I jumped on board, in board, out board. You. And that's where, when I talk about entrepreneurship without having that, and that's how it was full blown. I was an entrepreneur, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll even have discussions around, because I said to Pat, I want to write a book called Living Large Broke, which was because we learned a lot around our personal finances, where the lawyers are calling.
Yeah. The
We are
bank.
dodging numbers.
You know, when that time comes and you learn that actually the bank is not your friend.
Yeah. We're going to have a discussion about
Yeah,
that.
no, we should,
we're going to have a
should.
talk.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun. I think we've learned so much in working together, firstly, but also entrepreneurship in our personal spaces.
Yeah.
From that, then, from Larato, which taught me quite a lot in terms of managing people. It really did. It
You know why I'm laughing?
Why are you laughing now?
Yeah.
Let the good times roll.
You know, I'm laughing because, you know, starting a business is... Obviously, people think it's glamorous. You've got employees. You know, you're paying salaries at the end of the month. You're in control of your time.
Wow.
Somehow, you know.
Yeah.
But they don't show you. Or what people don't know, rather, is the other side of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You know, because it really does take up a lot. And that's why this podcast really aims to you know, sort of unpack and just to show people that, no, man, you know what?
Yeah.
The
reality. I think also in that, I think we're playing, or we want to make an indelible mark in making it seem attainable.
Listen to that English from the School for the Girls.
So we want to make it attainable, realistically attainable.
Sure,
you know?
sure. I want to keep it as real as possible.
Yeah. So yeah, and fast forward, before you catch me.
Sorry.
I became then what now I'm being positioned as a beauty entrepreneur. So yeah, still in corporate, just to be able to augment, because I was like, you know, not having money, you become mponga. And I thought, "Ish,
And,
man,
you don't, and once you look
Mpunga," then people don't want to talk to you.
People don't want to talk to you.
You know?
Clients don't want to give you money.
They're like, "Ay."
Laws will take money and never deliver. Yeah, no.
So there's so many things that is required
but also,
from it.
that's the beauty of, how can I put it? The beauty of networks, the beauty of just having a good work ethic.
Certainly. Pat, that is my pet peeve. Like, work ethic and attitude are two things
you know, because then now somehow, and also education. And I always say, even to my team, I say, look, never underestimate education.
Yeah.
Even though it's hard now, but education in the future gives you options. Like, for example, with me as well, I lecture.
Yeah.
I do other things on the side just to also augment, because the business also still very much
certainly
at its infancy stage. Still building. We very much trying out new things and whatnot. So education, guys.
Yeah. Man, so that's who we are, I think a lot more will be unpacked as we relay our stories and we talk to, relevant people who are going to share their stories and really answer these burning questions that we have. So we can't wait. We really can't wait.
We really can't wait. Just tune in. Every week we'll be dropping, great content.
Yeah.
We'll be bringing guests, people that are more knowledgeable than you and I combined. Just to drop those jams and just to answer our burning questions about marketing and entrepreneurship.
I love it. I have questions now, so I'm not going to share them now. We've got so many burning questions, and I think please make sure to comment. Share your burning questions, whether it's on Patron Brands, on social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Even on the podcast, do rate us.
It's important.
Please monetization, the things that we'll be discussing on this platform. But education is what we really want you to get. We want you to be very informed. Entertainment is, of course. That is standard procedure.
So, growing up, I also wanted to be an entertainer. So at least now.
So funny enough, actually, I think marketers actually wanted to be in the front of the camera, but realized that they cannot be. So let them put other people on billboards. That's what I think, because I was very sure I would study a BA in dramatic arts up until I realized that my parents were going to be like, "Mntanam, uyokyantoni?" So
that's also something to talk about in the future. But do like this podcast, do comment, leave us a review. We're super excited. This is Pat Mahlangu. Why people say Pat Mahlangu. I'm out.
And my name is Mpumi Satsha. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Do make sure that you follow us on social media at I am Pat Mahlangu
and at Mpumi_Satsha.
This podcast is brought to you by Lerato Agency and Lenala Beauty.